I think I'm a bit comfortable. But anyway, what's up, you guys? Chet-Guthrie, the Dream Poet here, coming to you all with night 12 of my 12 Days of Christmas Staycation special. And as you all can see, I'm holding a candle, and I've got a candle right here. Mainly because it's a little bit dark, and well, I'm not really having any electrical problems here in the house. But it kind of sets the tone for what we're going to talk about tonight. Now, I didn't really intend on making a holiday light vlog or going out somewhere for the 12th day of Christmas or 12th night, however you want to look at it. I just felt like, as of filming this right now, it is the 23rd. When this video comes out, it will be tomorrow, December 24th. So, really, I imagine probably a lot of people are going to be with their families on Christmas Eve. And I know not that many people are going to be watching my videos. But it is what it is. I mean, I'm one of those people. I've got family that, actually, I got a wrap gift tonight. Of all things. Yes, so the holidays is upon us. But anyway, guys, what I want to do tonight is, I think I'm going to tell a couple of ghost stories. And y'all are probably wondering, well, Chet, Christmas is a time for goodwill and good spirits, you know, holiday cheer, the birth of Jesus, if you all believe in that side of Christmas. I, as a person of faith, I do. Well, let me tell you all this. During the Victorian era, which I think that was probably around the 1880s, early 1900s, people, as a means to pass the time during the winter season, they would tell ghost stories. They would tell ghost stories. Again, it set the tone at the time. We didn't have TVs, and we didn't have tablets or anything like that. Everything they used to do back then was all verbal. Or, you know, they did have some forms of entertainment to pass the holiday season. But anyway, guys, before I get to that, and I tell some of my personal ghost stories for the 12th day of Christmas, I just want to say something, a big thank you. As of the recording of this video, I have hit 1 million views. 1 million views across my channel. Well, yeah, going on in the entirety of the 4 years I've been on YouTube. Now, 2 of those, it has been monetized, but I also want to say thank you for being so interested in my content. It really means a lot to me that y'all love my videos. And it's not just me simply clicking on the video just to make the views go up. I do not do that. In the early days of my channel, I did not know about YouTube Studio, so I did not know that you could go through YouTube Studio to check the views on a video. That I did not realize until later on. But I fixed that. Yeah. Anyway, what else was I going to say? Oh, yes. And I also hit a double 2 milestones in the same day. If you all have seen, I have another video that has hit 100,000 views. That is 4 videos. 2 of them in this year alone. So I just have to say thank you all very much. It means a lot to me. And I know it's you guys, like, you all are the backbone of my channel. I am simply the one who shows you all these places. The Dream Poet. But anyway, and also a big thank you to Patrick from Famous 5 Amos, who recommended me that location at the time. He was the one who pointed it out. It was Lake McCamey up at Chilhowie Lake and the Cherokee National Forest. Honestly, I did not think it would blow up the way it did, but it did. So anyway, having said that, let's do an old-time tradition that has probably not been celebrated since the Victorian era. Just some of my own personal ghost stories. Um, the first one, it's actually the first experience that I ever had. And I was about 6 years old at the time. My family and I, we were living on the other side of town. This was before anyway, to cut to the chase, we were, I always felt something was in that house. I mean, if you've ever just had that feeling in your gut that you just know that you're being watched and stuff happens just in the corner of your eye and you acknowledge it and you're simply not going crazy. Um, well, I was about 6 years old. My family was upstairs in the next room, and I was down in the basement. Now, the basement, it had like a garage, like a door that led to the garage. And anyway, I was sitting down there. Next thing I know, I watched the door shake, like as if something was rattling it to the other side. Like boom, 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 boom. Now, at first, I thought maybe it was the air conditioning, the AC. I mean, I was a pretty smart kid. I mean, I guess I'm pretty smart now. But anyway, lo and behold, I watched as the door handle by itself turned and the door flung itself open. Now, as a kid, I watched this in disbelief. I could not believe what I saw. And as I was watching this, the door flung itself back to the garage, slammed itself shut. Now, I thought, there's no way that this could happen. Something must be going on. Well, I watched as the door handle moved by itself and it flung itself back open. Now, I did this like one other time, and I was freaked out as a kid. Until I remember, plain as day, I told it to stop, and I remember it slammed itself shut extremely hard. It's like it almost shook the house, kind of. But that's one ghost story that is the earliest thing that I can remember that ever happened. And surprisingly enough, my father, who was a manager at Kmart at the time, even though Kmart is practically no more, he, the family, or the son of the family who bought our old house, one day while my dad is working, he comes up to my father and he says, "Was y'all's house haunted? Did anything weird go on while you all were living there?" And my dad said, "Well, my wife saw a couple of things. Of course, my mom and my dad have been divorced for probably the better part of probably 16 years now. But anyway, this was back when I was a kid, and the only thing that my dad could really say is no. My dad never saw anything, but me and my mother, I mean, that's some of the typical things that you see within a haunting. It seems that mostly these entities make themselves known to children and women and pets too. That is the weird people that are more sensitive to that kind of stuff. So that's the first one. And now the second one. Let me roll up and remember this one. It's really not a whole lot, but I do remember it. And it's when my family was on vacation. It was in Georgetown, South Carolina. It was the third oldest town in the state of South Carolina. And we were on a ghost tour. We were at this old, it was an old slave auction building where pirates used to be around. And anyway, this is where, they would sell enslaved people. I'm glad we're not in that type of history anymore. But anyway, they told the story about a sailor who died in the building. And now this sailor, they did not find him until after the fact. This was 5 days after. But as this lady was telling this story, we heard some thuds coming from the second story. Now, this might come off as crazy, but here's the thing. that building closes at 5 p.m. in the afternoon. And yet we were still hearing footsteps from the very top of the building going thud, 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 as if there were footsteps. And that was another thing that I guess has kind of stuck with me. And probably one of the most interesting things that I have seen and felt, and it makes me wonder, you know what? Maybe there is a tinge of sensitivity in my family. Well, no, I know it's in my family, but I mean, that's for people that, they kind of think, maybe there is a sixth sense or what have you. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yes. This is when I was training to be a tour guide, a ghost tour guide for Ghost Augustine. And it was what we call our shotgun house. And this shotgun house had been constructed during the 1930s. It was an old house. It was in a bad part of town. Had a lot of history to it. A lot of death associated with it. But I remember we had this room called the Wild West Room. And in the Wild West Room, we would get just a lot of strange activity. And I remember when I was working there, when I was training, I was there with somebody who was already a part of the bus tour group that went around St. Augustine, and we were I was just simply following him and observing, shadowing to be a good guide. But we went inside. There was already a group there that was doing a ghost hunting kind of deal, ghost hunt or paranormal investigating, an actual investigation or mock investigation of a very haunted house, very small house, but had so much activity in it. But I remember I walked to this room we called the Wild West Room, and at the far end of the room, I see this black figure that's sitting there. It is clearly, plain as day, a black figure that is sitting there, and I just got this really weird feeling that it was smiling back at me. And so anyway, I walked back, found, God, I can't remember the guy's name, but then I also remember how, after everything was said and done, there was that same couple. They had what we call an SLS camera. What it does is it picks up what cannot be seen with the naked eye, and it would spit it out as a stick figure. Well, they passed by this chair at the far corner of this room where I saw this figure, and boom, it picked up a stick figure sitting in that chair. So I was not crazy. And so, I mean, I could probably tell a few more stories, but I want everybody to get back to their holiday season. I just thought, you know what? Let's take a trip back to the Victorian era and tell a couple of ghost stories. Telling of ghost stories from tales long ago, as the Christmas song goes. But anyway, you guys, I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. Anyway, thank you all for helping me make my channel so great. Anyway, you guys, peace out. I love you all very much.